The Wrecking Crew, starring Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa. Drax the Destroyer, Aquaman/Lobo. It's a good movie. It's a comedy, action, drama, I guess, because there's a lot of drama between the two stars. Jason Momoa plays Johnny. His mother messes around with Bautista's father, Johnny and James, and she produces Jason's Momoa's character, which kind of breaks up the family that Dave Bautista was with, that he grew up with. So as children, Momoa's mother messes around with Bautista's dad and produces a child. And then she dies not long after, and Dave Bautista's family takes him in. So now the son of the woman that pretty much destroyed their family is living in the house, and he doesn't think he's being treated fairly as a child. Of course, there's got to be a lot of drama with that. As adults, Bautista is in a position where he's above Momoa, and as his older brother, he sends him to the States, to the mainland States. And Jason Momoa sees that as, that was the final straw, my mom died, all I had was you, and you kicked me out. So he grew up hating his family in Hawaii. But that's not exactly what happened. So he was under a misconception, hates his family, something happens, his dad dies, and he needs to come back to Hawaii. The Yakuza shows up, and he has to knuckle up with the Yakuza in the States, and decides it must be connected to his father dying in Hawaii. Hawaii is the States, the lower 48. And he decides it has something to do with Hawaii. So they go there. And a lot of this stuff was shot on scene. I know it because I lived in Hawaii for a long time, and I recognized a lot of the streets. Especially there's this one scene where they're having a highway fight. I must have driven on that highway 3 times a month, and brought back memories. I was never attacked by a helicopter, trying to shoot me, gun me down on the highway, but apparently they were. So he goes back, and now he has to convince Dave Bautista that somebody killed our dad, and then they gotta try to figure out what's going on. The Yakuza is involved, hired mercenaries are involved. They gotta work their way through it to get to the final boss. It's good. It's a really, really good story. I was gonna say show, really good story, and it has 3 really good action scenes. There's one with Jason Momoa where he's fighting in his house, and he's hilarious. That dude is hilarious. He's like 11 foot tall, 300 pounds of muscle, but he's a funny guy. He's gonna do great as Lobo, I think. And then there's a scene. I mean, the fight scenes. It's so original, and it's fairly organic. The things are happening that just seems like, what's gonna happen next. He's gonna hit him with it's organic like that, and it was good. It was a great fight scene. There's another fight scene where the 2 brothers decide everything's boiled up. They just got to get rid of all of this energy and anger that they've had for all these years, and they have a fight, which was a good fight. It was another good fight scene. And then Bautista has a fight scene, and it's like a hallway fight scene because it's one hallway. It reminded me of the Old Boy fight scene from that movie, He's just moving down the hallway, cutting his way through people, and I don't know, if I was in that situation and I'm in the back and I'm like, come on guys, let's get him. And there's like 20 of us, and then the first guy gets knocked, gets his head knocked off his shoulders, I'd be like, huh. And then 15th guy gets his back broken, I'm gonna be like, now me personally, I consider myself a rugged prototype of manhood, but if I'm with 20 guys and one dude beat the brakes off of 19 guys, I'm gonna get out of the hallway and go ahead, man. Whatever you were trying to do, go on and do it. I mean, if it was family, I gotta fight. But if I'm getting paid to be there, if the check clears, I'm leaving. I'm not fighting a dude that could walk through 20 people. Why? I never understood why they stand there. And Old Boy, the dude is walking through 20 people, and the last guy pretends like his leg is hurt. He's like, oh, and he tries to back out, but he gets that work too. He didn't move fast enough. I've never understood the one-man army thing, where Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Willis or Chan or somebody like that can beat up a ton of people, and there's still somebody at the end talking about, well, not me. Ip Man told him he wanted 10 dudes, and they brought out 10 guys, and he was beating them to death. Now, they were military, so they were under orders. They had to fight. But you could see it in the eyes of the last guy. He knew everybody was down, and he was still looking around, and he got it the worst. Why would you do that? But Batista walked through like 15 dudes, 20 dudes, and then the last guy was like, I'll fight you. He got that work too. And again, he got it the worst. They had to pull Batista off of that dude. He was dead for like 20 seconds, and Batista was still working him. I love that. I like ultraviolence in movies to begin with, but the emotion of that, because something emotional had driven him to that point. He wasn't. Momoa says, I guess being a psycho runs in the family. Okay, that could be true, but I felt his anger. It's an action comedy, so there's a lot of comedy, but a lot of the conversations that they have, I felt it. When they were angry, I felt it. They're two good actors. I mean, they're two big guys, so usually, big guys back in the old days, they just came out and they were the guy that the small guy, the hero, could beat up to prove how tough he was. But nowadays, being a big guy, you also need to be able to act. And these two dudes, Batista was a professional wrestler, and he became an actor. He's a full-on actor now. And Jason Momoa is great. These guys are great together too. I would like to see them in something else, a Wrecking Crew Part 2, because there's a thing that happens at the end that gives me hope for another movie, another TV show. I liked this. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure how well it would have done at the theaters, because this is the kind of movie. Nowadays, you got movies that you go to the theaters. If there's a new Avengers movie, you're going to the theaters to see that. If there is a Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa movie, even though it's great, it's kind of a Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max type show, something that you want to sit down in the house with a bag of popcorn and a cold drink and chill and watch that, maybe a sandwich, and check that out and enjoy it and point at the camera and at the TV and scream at the TV, look out behind you and stuff like that. It's that kind of movie. There's those two types of things that happen right now, and this was perfectly matched for sitting down in your living room and enjoying a good movie. Yeah. At the end of the movie, there's two things that they're juggling. You know, some revenge and something more lucrative, and they go with the lucrative thing, but they understand what the revenge is, you know. So they could honestly have, because they're like, oh, we don't need this, we'll take that. But they saw there's a name on a piece of paper. They saw the name. So they could definitely do another movie. They destroyed the paper, but they read it. I mean, I read Moby Dick when I was a kid. I remember it. The whale did it. You know, he was the main culprit. Destroy all of the books. I'm still going to remember that. They looked at the piece of paper. They know the name. They could go get the person. They could still have revenge. So there's still room for another one. And I think, just like with Wonder Man came out, they kind of held off a little bit because they didn't want to make a Wonder Man 2 or say he was part of the whole MCU extended universe or anything. But it's doing so well that they're probably going to do another one. I think that's what they're doing here. The Wrecking Crew, they released it and they was like, we better wait and see what happens. It's a good movie. They're going to need to do another one. You know, I would rank The Wrecking Crew. Man, they had some good fight scenes. I just finished it a little while ago. I think I'm going to go back and watch it again. I would rank The Wrecking Crew, me, as, and it was funny, I give it a solid 9 bags of popcorn. 9 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. More importantly, have you seen it? What do you think about that? Let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.